Testing, 1, 2. Can everybody hear that better? Yes. Okay, good.
Hello, I am Aidan Davis. I am Student Council President at Matlin Middle School right here in Plainview. I have a question for Assemblyman Montesano, Assemblyman Levine, Legislator Drecker, and Legislator Lafazan. With the growing idea that people have the liberty to act upon their racial biases violently, what are our local governments doing to prevent the spread of hate in our community and schools?
I'll start off. First of all, everyone here should know that Aidan Davis, if you fast forward about 10 or 15 years from now, yes, he's going to be sitting up here. I had the pleasure of meeting with Aidan and his family at one of the things that Matlin had, and he was so engaging, so bright, and so motivating that he really knocked my socks off. But in answer to your question, Aidan, one of the first things I was confronted with when I was elected was really the racial hatred and the religious bias that was going on, the bombing threats that were happening at the religious institutions in our community here. I mean, as I said, I grew up here, so I never really experienced that type of vitriolic talk and the violence that was being perpetrated and the racial graffiti that was being painted around. So I immediately got in touch with the leaders in this community. Rick Lewis from the Mid-Island Y, he's been instrumental. And some of the other religious leaders, the rabbis in certain synagogues, and even in the Indian churches and the Islamic Center of Long Island, we all got together and we had a vigil and we all discussed the problems that we're facing and how we have to tackle that. And then I've been fortunate enough to establish a relationship with our new police commissioner, who has been so on top of it in terms of meeting the needs that we have and to be communicative. I can call him instantly and he will have someone address problems that we're having. He's on top of this community, our community, and Nassau County to make sure that this racial intolerance and division that is coming out of the White House in Washington is not going to happen here in Long Island. We're not going to tolerate it. What brings us down brings us up even better. And we're not going to let it happen. And I certainly am motivated to make sure that our religious institutions, I introduced legislation last year to require the police department in Nassau County to make patrolling and showing a presence at all religious institutions in our community, to make that a part of their daily patrol, part of their requirements, that they have to patrol and be a presence at these institutions and houses of worship. Because in my opinion, perception becomes reality. And people see that there's a police presence in these places, I think that helps. And it certainly gives a level of comfort to people. So we're not going to tolerate racial intolerance and religious intolerance and ethnic intolerance. And I know that my colleagues here on this dais agree and feel the same way. So in answer to your question, that's something that we are always cognizant of, Aidan. And with people like you on the horizon, we're not going to let it knock us down.
I'm still ready.
So, up in the state legislature, we've passed some laws to deal with cyberbullying, bullying in school, and we have a whole criteria of laws that govern, these hate crimes based on everything based on your religion, your sex, your gender, your religion. It's a question of them being enforced. So when something goes wrong in the school or in the community, it's up to those people to bring it forward so that the prosecutors can prosecute, the police can make their arrest. But I think we've done a lot of things in the past several years to bring this to the forefront. We've had hearings, we get information out to the public, and while it's a blessing to us, the technology we have today, Facebook, Twitter, and all these means of social media, unfortunately, it brings with it a lot of problems also. So a lot of it's going to stem from not only what we do in the legislature, but it's to what the schools can impart upon the students about their behavior, what parents can impart upon their children about their behavior, and trying to monitor some of this activity. But as far as I'm concerned, and many of my colleagues in the state legislature, I would say all of them, we have no tolerance for any attack this behavior. We will always do what we can, to prevent it.
So Aidan, you asked a fascinating question, which is, what can our liberal governments do to protect us from base hatred? So it seems to me that being a liberal means not something bad,